You can almost feel it when you meet them. Those people who are not rich yet, but somehow you just know they will eventually become rich. They might not look rich. They might even dress broke on purpose sometimes because they do not care very much on how they look. Majorly because the thinking inside their head carries more weight than what is happening outside. They may like to be alone most times, just thinking. It is like they are quietly building something invincible while everyone else is fighting to be seen. People tend to call them quiet. I call them dangerous because silence that is backed by obsession is one of the most loudest signs of future wealth. But here is the thing. People like that are not born special. They are just wired a little differently. And if you are the type that your mind never rests, always thinking, always searching, always looking for, it is as if your mind wants to grow out of your body. You are never okay financially because your mind is already living in a future that has not arrived yet. So let us talk about it. Let us break down the psychology of people who will eventually become rich. You see, there is one funny thing about this type of people. Sometimes they look lazy because from the outside all you see is silence, but inside their brain is running a marathon. According to a psychologist from the University of Michigan, the human brain burns the same energy imagining a plan as it does actually carrying it out. So when they are sitting there looking like they are doing nothing, they might actually be training their mind to see possibilities others are blind to. That is why they overthink, not because they are anxious, but because their brain refuses to stay in one dimension. They can't be broke, tired, ignored, yet there is this weird calmness in them, like they already know that the storm will pass, because in their mind they have already seen the other side of the story. But there is a dark side to having that kind of mind. You see, when your head is always 3 steps ahead, your heart is always 1 step behind. You are planning for a life you have not lived yet, and it makes the present feel too slow. You get bored easily. You outgrow people, jobs, and even dreams that used to excite you. And the worst part, you start thinking something is wrong with you because you cannot seem to stay still like everyone else. But nothing is wrong with you. Your brain is just wired to hunt potential, not comfort. That is why people who will eventually become rich are rarely understood at first. They are called inconsistent, distracted, unrealistic. But what they really are is restless. Their mind is like a laboratory. Ideas always mixing, clashing, exploding. They might fail 5 times in a row and still wake up the next morning saying, alright, I just figured something else out. According to research from Harvard Business School, visionary thinkers tend to experience higher mental fatigue because their brain is constantly simulating multiple futures at once. So when they say I am tired, they do not mean physically, they mean existentially. It is like carrying 5 possible versions of yourself inside your head and trying to live all of them at the same time. Sometimes they isolate themselves, not because they hate people, but because regular conversations start to sound like background noises. They are thinking in strategies while others are talking about vibes. And deep down, that can get lonely because when your brain is always chasing the next possibility, you really get to rest in the present moment. If you pay attention, you can almost spot this kind of people, not by their money, but by their patterns. They read things that have nothing to do with their current life. They watch and enjoy videos of people who they look forward to, not necessarily for entertainment, but because that is really where their mind is living at. So they will overthink random ideas at 2 a.m. and by morning they already have a half-built plan sitting in their note app. They are constantly connecting dots no one else can see. To them, everything is training, every failure, every conversation, every heartbreak, although they are mostly never in a relationship, but everything is all data to them. They do not waste pain, they recycle it. According to a study from the University of Michigan, again, people who develop wealth-oriented thinking early tend to process setback as feedback. setback, not defeat. It is not that they feel less pain, it is that they assign meaning to it faster. You will notice they hate small talk, not because they are rude, but because their mind live in the deep end. They would rather sit in silence than talk about nothing. They have this habit of disappearing sometimes, not out of arrogance, but to reset their energy. Because every time they are around noise for too long, their vision starts to blow. They are the type to say, I am not where I want to be yet, even when they are doing better than 90% of people. And that is because they are not comparing themselves to others. They are comparing themselves to the person inside their head. And that person keep moving the goalpost. They live with this quiet frustration of mix of gratitude and hunger, grateful for how far they have come, but still starving for what they know is possible. So they build, rebuild, rethink, restart, and every time they fall, they whisper to themselves, okay, I know what to do next time. That is how you know them. They are addicted to becoming. But there is a point where something quietly shifts. Not a big dramatic moment. No fireworks. No I made it music playing in the background. Just clarity. It usually comes after a season where everything is falling apart. Finances, emotions, relationships, even faith in themselves. And then suddenly they stop chasing everything at once and start aligning with what actually matters. That is when the switch flips. They stop caring about looking busy and start obsessing over being effective. They stop saying yes to everyone and start protecting their time like currency, because they finally understand that energy is currency, attention is currency, and every time they waste it on the wrong thing, they are robbing their future self. According to behavioral psychologists, this moment is called cognitive convergence, when the brain's priorities start syncing with long-term reward instead of instant comfort. That is when the rich mindset truly forms. Not when they get the money, but when they stop leaking it through distractions, through validations, through emotional spending. And here is the funny thing. From the outside, nothing might look different. They still dress simple, still take public transport, still eat noodles for dinner some nights. But inside, everything has rearranged. Their goals become quieter, their cycle becomes smaller, and their peace becomes louder. They begin to feel something rare. Control not over life, but over themselves. And that is the real shift, when emotions start obeying logic and the logic start protecting the emotions. That is when they start to build wealth, not from ego, but from alignment. For people who will eventually become rich, money was never the main goal. It sounds strange, but that is exactly why they get it. They chase understanding, not numbers. They themselves might not see it at first, but once they understand value, money just become a side effect of alignment. They treat money like oxygen. It is necessary, but not worth worshipping. You do not see them bragging about money. They are too busy learning how it moves, how it hides, and how to make it flow instead of just appear. You see, broke people chase money. Wealthy mind chase system. They think in terms of flow. How can I make something once and let it feed me forever? And failure, they do not fear it anymore, because by now they have fallen so many times that losing is almost like a language they speak fluently. Every mistake is just a new data. Every setback just tighten their focus. They do not see failure as a wall. They see it as a mirror. It shows them exactly what need fixing. And here is the dark humor part. While most people are scared of losing money, they are more scared of losing time. They can make money back. You cannot refund wasted years. That is why they do not cling to things that drain them. Not jobs, not people, not comfort zone. They would rather start from zero with peace than stay stable and miserable. Psychologists call this future-oriented resilience. It is the ability to delay delay gratification because your brain already lives in a better tomorrow. To them, freedom is not in luxury cars or mansion. It is waking up without panic. It is control over their time. It is peace of mind. And that is what they are truly chasing. That quiet kind of wealth where your life finally feels like yours. The truth is, people who will eventually become rich do not even realize it yet, because right now it does not look like success. It looks like struggle. It looks like overthinking at night, arguing with yourself about whether to keep going or quit. It looks like being misunderstood because the people around you cannot see what you are building inside your head. But one day it will click, and when it does, the world will call it luck, even though you and I both know it was never luck. It was years of quiet alignment, sacrifices, failure, jumping from one idea to another, and then fate that sometimes looked foolish. So if you are watching this and you feel stuck, maybe this is your reminder. You are not behind. You are just still becoming. Your consistency will look like madness to people who stopped trying, but keep going anyways, because the same mind that is exhausting you right now is the same mind that will one day buy you freedom. And when that happens, I hope you still remember where you started, right here in this little corner of the internet, trying to understand yourself better. So if this video resonates with you, then stay around, join the lab, because maybe, just maybe, you belong to the kind of mind that thinks like this. Subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.